In this video, I want to talk about the idea of resistance coming second. So many of the conversations I have with myself, with clients, is around fear, resistance, never feeling quite ready, doubt, sense of inadequacy, all the things that we can all recognize. And when we make that the focus of the conversation, I think we're kind of missing some of the point. I'll explain what I mean. I think resistance comes second. It's a secondary force and it's stimulated by a primary force. And that primary force is what I talk about so much, inspiration. We only go into resistance, we only stimulate resistance because we got inspired in the first place. So one of the things I'm always doing with clients and with myself is to track back and go, okay, what happened before I went into all this resistance? What were the thoughts I was having? What were the ideas I was incubating? What was going on in me that I was dreaming boldly and daring boldly that caused this resistance to get stirred up? And I find that's a much more fruitful conversation to have with myself and to have with clients. It's like to recognize that the resistance only kicks in because we're dreaming boldly. The resistance only kicks in because we are moving towards our life purpose or a new chapter of our life purpose. It's like, the glass gets stirred up and, all the sediment gets stirred up when we take a step forward quite often. So I find it so helpful to keep that perspective. And I then call it resisting with awareness. It doesn't necessarily make the resistance go away, but at least we understand the process. And I also personally find it helps a lot of people make it all more meaningful. That once you realize you're dealing with fear or insecurities or whatever you're dealing with, and it's because you're dreaming boldly and because you're taking a big courageous step, it gives a new motivation, it gives a new perspective. It's like, yeah, I want to grow, I want to become, don't want to be a hostage to this fear anymore. So it then becomes about growth and blossoming and maturing, and that I think is so much more meaningful to us than just thinking about, why am I feeling this fear, why am I feeling this resistance? So that's today's thought. Remember that resistance is always a secondary force. It only happens because you dreamt boldly, because you are getting inspired, because you are getting creative, and track back to the original inspiration and realize that the inspiration is calling you to grow bigger than those fears.